Ta-da! Production values. I spent a whopping $11 on you people, just so you would have something pretty to look at. Besides me, of course. But I cannot figure out the lighting. I do know that I have it propped up on boxes, and I have to cut the boxes in half. But I just taped I just got it flattened out and taped the painting to the board yesterday and propped it up like that. And I may not feel like talking later, so I figured uh, I can work on it later. But the idea, see, that's like a 2x3 poster. The idea was to have a great big, giant, 3 foot by 5 foot poster that would take up the whole backdrop, and then I would like be in the middle of the painting. I would just be like in the middle of the painting. Uh, but yeah, now I'm just kind of like in the shadows. My face is just kind of like in the shadows. Not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, this is the best I can do for now. I can't even get the lighting right to feature the painting. With we can pretend like the glare from the light is the waning sun, reflecting on the water there. But yeah, I like that painting a lot just because it's very colorful. And there's one thing about my room is it is not colorful. So, um, yeah. So I thought it was good value at $11. I thought it was worth $11. I don't know what I will do with it. I have my other painting for if I do a video at night on the back. That's of a guy looking at a night sky. Uh, I taped it to the back so I could just flip it around depending upon the time of day. It's exactly 10 a.m. here. Um, so yeah, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Well, I got these calls. Uh, well, the Brent guy, who was my caseworker that was supposed to help me move out of here, that was very effective at his job, obviously. But anyways, his job seemed to consist of spamming my email with like apartmentfinder.com material. And then, uh, I think the Stonehenge apartments, which I wanted to move into, I found on my own. I don't think he turned me on to those even. So he just wasn't very good at his job and wasn't very true to his word. And so anyways, I get a phone call from him telling him he found another job. He wants me to call him and discuss whether I want a caseworker, whether I want a female or a male caseworker, which of course I made the joke about, like, unless this caseworker is really good at her job, I'm not sure, you know, if unless she's a really, really helpful caseworker, I'm not sure her sex matters. The sex of the caseworker matters. So, anyways, I got somebody with a funny name, but I'm not going to repeat her name on here because can't do that. But her name's funny. Um, Especially in the context. Let me be vague about it. Since I was talking about, I was making sex jokes, like I thought it was just so asinine for him to ask me if I preferred a male or female caseworker. Like, you know, we're talking about a gynecologist or something like that. So I thought that was so ridiculous. And then I made the joke about, well, that must be a really good caseworker. If I need a female, I would prefer a female caseworker. What sex they are has no difference. But anyway, this woman's last name is a synonym, we'll call it, for the female genitalia. So, so that's that's as specific as I can go. So when I found that out, I just thought it was hilarious. But I called her back and talked to her, and I was like, I don't know how much time you got. And I told her, like, half of the madness that went on in this building. And yeah, I don't know what help or whatever she's going to provide, but you know, they just automatically assigned me someone else. I never called Brent back because I was not in the best of moods because of my leg, and I didn't see any reason for it. I said that I should probably tell him, like, you shouldn't say that stuff. If your new job is in the mental health profession, don't act like you're going to be a buddy or a friend to your clients, because I don't think that was just me. As far as like uh, he was just putting out all these buddy buddy vibes. It wasn't just like something that I was inferring. We would have like conversations. Like, he told me some stuff that I guess I can repeat on here, that were like some very, very personal stuff. I'm not going to repeat them on here. I don't know. You probably can't track the guy down. He's got a new job and stuff like that. But he told me, okay, what the fuck? He's got a new job. You got one name to work with. I think it's safe. I don't know how many really, really sick people there are out there that would do this. But he told me about, uh, like, losing his marbles himself, his problems with opiate addiction, his issues with his father, involving sexual abuse, which really no one should be ashamed of if you're not the person that's doing it. If you're like adjacent to that sort of behavior, if it's your father doing it or whatever, you should never feel any shame about any of that stuff unless you're the actual guy committing the abuse. So, but anyways, he told me all this personal stuff, and he said he wanted to hang out with me, and then like he said that like since we both played guitar and we talked music, we even have the same favorite song and stuff, and then like he's like, I love hanging out with you and talking to you, and I'm like, okay, but that's not really a professional way to act if you're in the mental health profession, because you're going to be dealing with a lot of people who have trouble distinguishing reality from non-reality, and like they actually have that transference attachment syndrome to your psychologist or psychiatrist and stuff like that. It's like, so that's the only reason why I would have called him back, is to be like, look, don't do that shit. Okay, that fucked with my head a little bit, and I'm probably saner than most of the people that you have to deal with. If you're still working in if I don't know what your job is or your new job's going to be, he didn't specify in his messages that he's taking. He just said he's taking a new job. He's not going to work there anymore. But if your new job is in the mental health profession, don't do that no more. I'm not going to tilt this just a little bit. Um, See, that's the problem. Oh, that's not that bad actually. That's the problem. Like with this setup, it's set up. This is set up on boxes, so I need to take an X-Acto knife and cut the boxes down because the boxes are too high. But then I'll be like in the middle of the poster, and the poster is not very big. That's why I need a big, giant, ridiculous poster. I did get my money back from the people that I bought a big, giant, ridiculous poster from. That was like, yeah, you cancel your bid, and then we'll refund your money. And I'm like, no, you have my money and my poster. I have nothing. I'm not going to cancel my bid until you give me a refund. And then I opened up a claim with eBay, and then I got my refund. My whopping $12.41. But the whole point of that seems just so stupid to me. It's like, don't you know how business works? If you have my product and my money, why in the hell am I going to cancel my bid, and then you don't have to refund my money because you have like 50,000 feedbacks, and my feedback will not move your feedback rating a percentage point. You just keep my money. I mean, all the negatives, I didn't look through the negatives to see what they were about, but it's like they had tons of negatives, but it doesn't matter if you have, it's a percentage thing. You know how that works. It's like, if you have like the more questions you have on a test, the more you can afford to miss. And you know, if you have a 50 questions on a test and you miss one, you get a 95, right? Does that sound right? But if you have 500 questions on a test and you miss one, it's probably like a 99. So you get it. You're better at math than me, I guarantee you. I've always been terrible at math. I failed algebra at least two times that I remember. So yeah, I'm not good at math except for addition and subtraction. I'm pretty good at that. Anybody that's had to live alone and manage very small amounts of money is very good at addition and subtraction. So another problem with the my painting is it's tilted back, and it has to be tilted back because I can't get it to. It will fall on top of me basically. So it's tilted back, but I thought it was a good idea. I just can't quite figure it out. You know, I think like I said, what I need is a giant poster that I could be like in the middle of the scene. My head, my freaking melon is so big that it would like block out half the painting if I didn't have it propped up on boxes. Uh, yeah, and it was lower. I mean, I put it in there like that originally, so I know. Like my head goes all the way up to like right here, and it covers up like, oh, there's a stream there. So, uh, yeah. So never let it be said that I do not pay attention to any production values in my videos. I should, now that I'm doing, now that I'm not busted, I should actually buy a microphone cord for the Blue Yeti. I need to replace a cord that has the USB cable that goes and then like set the Blue Yeti up like right here on like a hard surface. I got one. As a matter of fact, I got something in mind I can do that with. And yeah, because I can tell the difference. I don't know if you can or not, but I can tell the difference in my voice. I used to have that set up with the arm hanging off, with the microphone like right here, uh, which was pretty cool. But I mainly bought that for reading audiobooks, and then, that didn't work out so good because I'm not that good at reading audiobooks. Not horrible at it, but I'm not really good at it. And as usual, things started to go crazy in my life where that was like the least of my worries. And then I had problems with it falling off. And I was like, the hell with it. And then I noticed that the cord was bent weird. And I was like, I'm just going to buy a new cord for it. I might try that out too. I'm not busted anymore. So, uh, yeah, I'm not in debt anymore. Somebody paid me back some money, and I was like, pay this other guy. I owe this other guy money, man. So she's gonna square me off with the other guy, and then I got his money, which is $300 in my drawer over there. So that's I can just add 125 for that, and that's 1 month's rent. So you know, selling some cards this weekend. Still haven't hooked up my printer. Haven't felt like doing much, including eating, which is my stomach is reminding me of. And I've been very lazy, and depressed, and not eating a lot. And I had these posters laid out on the floor, and they were kind of in the way. But I definitely need to start walking around. I need to start walking and moving weights, and it's got to be an act of will now because my leg is even worse than it was. I was doing it with a swollen leg before, you know, lifting weights and stuff because I felt like I didn't have any choice because my mood was like really really bad. I was even like lifting weights like during my Xanax period. So you have to you have to get those endorphins rolling, and you just feel better. But also I have to do that for my heart. I've been taking more blood pressure pills. I don't like the lighting. as far as I'm concerned. It's very gloomy outside today, and it's a little cold. So I'm thinking about going in the back there. If I do this, I don't know. Thinking about going in the back there and doing some cleanup because there's just like a bunch of garbage out there, and then like setting up some boxes, like, and slamming them against this like cubby hole where the rain doesn't reach for the cats to hide in. Uh, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do that today. Maybe tomorrow morning. And it's just dangerous for me to walk down them crumbling cement steps and stuff. But I can just throw the boxes out the window. I don't have to carry anything, so I can have a hand free for the. There is a railing. It's not covered by poison ivy anymore because late October. So the leaves have turned and fallen off the trees. We've had a few nights below freezing, and we got some dead leaves and stuff rolling around. So yeah, I, something else ridiculous that happened is I remember, I think the last time I spoke to you was on the 20th, and I was waiting for my caseworker to show up. Well, meanwhile, they're calling me on the wrong phone. I gave them the phone number to the good phone, but they're calling me on the bad phone. The bad phone, it's even hard to like turn the ringer up and down on it because the commercials that pop up on it, it's like constantly popping up commercials on the government phone. And the phone that I bought myself, the track phone, doesn't do that. But this phone does that. Let's see what it does right now if I light it up. I'll push the button. I'll push the button. Okay, it's not lit up yet. It might be working on it. Okay, now it's lit up. Now it's finally lit up. Okay, now I'll try to uh, adjust the volume. Let's see. We'll try to turn it down. We'll try to turn it down. Is it turning down? Okay, not yet. Still not going to turn down for me. Okay. All right, let's see. I'll push the button and try to get the garbage off the screen. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Okay, there we go. Now you get to the screen and you get the chances to X out some of the ads. No, you're going to enlarge the ads. You're not going to exit out. Okay, we'll push this button and see what happens. I'm just trying, mind you, I'm just trying to turn the volume down on it. Okay, it's not responding. Not responding. Okay, we'll try to. Any luck on the volume? How about turning it up? No, I'm not allowed to turn it up either. Okay, so you get the point. The fucking thing don't work. You get 350 free minutes on it. It's a free thing, but it just puts up these ads. It says system UI isn't responding. Close. Wait. Now this other phone. Okay, it looks like this. Push that down. Hit this. I got a little balloon picture. There's the volume down. There's the volume up. So anyways, they're calling me on this phone. The woman called me like 5 times to tell me on that phone that my aid worker wasn't going to show up. And I'm just sitting here talking, making what I thought was a pretty poor video. Especially when I was talking about literary stuff. I'm like, boy, you should not be talking about literary stuff when you sound like an illiterate and you're speaking that poorly and using grammar that incorrectly. Yeah, that's kind of ironic, that part of the video. But anyways, so she doesn't show up at all because she's just trying to tell me that the woman's off and I got no aid worker for that day. And I got my envelope for Omni Orthopedics that I took great care in preparing and double checked. And I wrote a little note even there, a nice personal note to the records keeper and whatnot. So then they Aid agency calls me up on Wednesday and says like, well, your regular caseworker has to take somebody to the doctors, and that the last time that happened, it became like an all day thing, and she didn't get here till late. She's like, so I'm gonna set you up with this other person, but they're gonna show up at like 8:30 in the morning. I that's early for me because I don't get my head together. Even if I wake up that early, I don't get my head together for a while. That's why this video is starting at 10 o'clock. I've been awake since 6. So, I'm like, okay, whatever, because I got to get that thing mailed. And I had some laundry, and I'm like, you know, the laundry is just, get them out of the house. Leave me alone. I should be having them do housework, but I just want them out of the house. I want them to leave me alone. So she literally calls me back in 10 minutes and says, well, I can't send her. I got this other person, though, and her name is, I won't say her name because I'm going to talk bad about her. But she's going to show up at 7:45. And I'm like, you said 8:30 and now you're saying 7:45. Are you going to call me back and say 6 o'clock? And she's like, no, I won't do that. And I was like, we keep getting earlier and earlier here. So the woman that was supposed to show up at 7:45, I sleep like 4 hours and wake up. She shows up a half hour early, so she shows up at 7:15 in the morning. Now, this woman's not describable. Now, the funny part about the thing to me is like I don't know what her experience as an aid worker has been or what she sees when she looks in the mirror, but she was like, I was married, I don't have a husband anymore, and I'm not looking for another one, you know. Like she was making it very clear, like, don't hit on me. Like, what? It was very weird. I don't remember what else she said, but it was like basically like a preemptive strike. Like, don't hit on me. I'm off limits. I know I'm hot as fuck. I can't help that shit. I know I'm in a care worker situation, but this isn't no sexual fantasy. I'm like, man, you're not some 22-year-old candy striper type nurse girl offering to give me a sponge bath. When I'm in arrhythmia, it's like, yeah, you need to look in the mirror, man. Take a long, hard look. But anyways, that's not the part that bothers me. I don't care about that. That's just funny. But this woman is, I don't even know how to describe her as far as personality wise. Well, let's just put it to you this way. I'm thinking a little bit thick, but like really unnecessarily forceful about everything. Like she says, so you want me to do this, this, and this? It's like, okay, General Patton. It's like all I want, she's like very like forceful and clear, you know, about everything. So, like, no, I only got two things for you to do. I want you to go to the post office. Because she's like, your letter doesn't have any stamp on it. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't have any stamp on it because I don't have any stamps. I don't have any way to get stamps except for through the mail. Or I would just pin it to the mailbox outside. So, yes, good observation. There's no stamp on the envelope. So, I was like, to make sure it got mailed properly, and I need stamps anyway because I got an idea. I was like, I want you to go to the post office and, pick me up a few stamps. And then you can buy stamps, put a stamp on it, and just give it to the post office. That way, give it to the post office, it's getting mailed. And go to the laundry. She comes back in and she tells me she lost the form. She lost my letter. That's the form where I had to make all the phone calls to get, the one that I showed you. And I'm like, that's the main reason why I wanted you to come out here was to mail that. And you're telling me you lost it? And she goes, yeah, I don't know where it is. I was like, did you put it in your pocket? She just thought that was a ridiculous idea. She's like, no, I didn't put it in my pocket. That envelope was way too big. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I'll look for it in here and you look for it outside. So I looked around the house and I was like, I knew it wasn't going to be anywhere, but I did anywhere. I looked around like the door area where I gave it to her and whatever. She's out there for a long time. She comes back and she's like, I found it. It was in between the seat and the door in my car. And I'm like, okay. And then she like put a stamp on it and stuff like that. But I just thought it was funny. I was like, I don't believe this is happening. All I want this agency to do is like one thing really. The laundry, not even that necessary. It's just like just to get them out of my house. It's just like I need that to get mailed. I should have just bought stamps. It probably actually I should have bought stamps the week before because the stamps come through the mail pretty quick. It would have been better, but I don't know. This agency comes here, I have to have them do something. So person doesn't show up the first day at all. This Tuesday, Thursday, woman loses the letter and leaves me to sweat it out. Like, do I have to make all them phone calls again? Get another form sent to me from Diane in records at Tri-County Orthopedics, and I wrote her that nice little personal note and everything. And do I have to do all that again because this woman lost my form? So she was like, I'm afraid that you were going to yell at me. And I'm like, it's too early in the morning to yell at people. And uh, she said, I'll mail it. And I'm like, I know you won't forget this time. I know. But I actually thought about it and I was like, I just want her to focus on that. I was like, I'm afraid to ask her to throw this garbage bag out because it might distract her from the main course of action, which is mailing this medical form. Which, I got really no hope or expectations that Omni Orthopedics is going to help me, but you never know, man. Things could break my way. They might actually, instead of hurting my knee, help my knee. So you never know about these things. Um, but yeah, I thought that was funny. I made the best, it's not much of a story, but I always make the best of what I got to work with. Uh, and also, when I called the person and talked to him from Coleman, I talked to him for 45 minutes, which is a damn long time. And I told him, about some of the bullshit that went down in here and how unbelievable it is. Like, I'm like, I understand that this stuff sounds crazy, you know. And I told her about Stampy. I told her about, the squatters leaving garbage in the hallway and the landlord having his father pick through the garbage that was rotting in the hallway. And I had to tell the father to go out and get gloves because there might be needles. He doesn't want to get hepatitis. He's just trying to handle like these garbage bags with rips in it. I didn't tell her about the part how like after we got the garbage bags, there was just loose, dirty underwear, 3 pair, laying on the floor underneath the garbage bags. I'm like, how did that even happen? Did they like throw dirty underwear? I skipped that part. But I mean, I know this stuff's hard to believe, but I also know that you work with a lot of mentally unstable people, so you understand how bad off people can get. It's like I understand this sounds like you know it's like I understand you just met me and this stuff sounds crazy, but the woman upstairs walked so heavy that she vibrated uh, my blinds out of my windows. I even explained that to her because that's fresh in my mind that I rehung that blind there. Um, so, anyways, I forgot why I brought up that phone call. Oh, I brought up that phone call because my appointment with my psychiatric nurse, the guy with the power of the pen, on the 27th, and I'm gonna, make a point of asking him to. I'm gonna talk about my appointment where the guy hurt my knee, why I'm not going back to that doctor, and I'm gonna ask him to prescribe gabapentin and see how he responds to it. Now, I've been, he doesn't know. Of course, I'm not gonna tell the guy that I have like massive amounts of volume surplus, because I'm not completely stupid. I will say that on the internet, so I will be bothered by random people and spooked by phone calls, but I won't say that to the guy that's actually prescribing the pills because he'll be like, "Oh, you need less pills?" You know, I'm not going to do that just because I'm taking less pills. But we had talked about how Neurontin's a controlled substance now and how it's a potentiator for opiates and benzodiazepines, meaning that it makes them more effective or the effect on you more profound. You know, it's like mixing alcohol with certain drugs where it says do not take with alcohol because it will intensify the effect. Do not operate heavy machinery and shit like that on the pill bottles. So I don't know how that's going to go or if I can hang in there without Neurontin, but I don't really take that much. I mean, like one pill a day and then I'll mix it with science. Those are blood pressure pills. I got a really good system of organization as always. Those are the diazepam, which that's almost a full bottle. I don't want to totally waste your time. Yeah, these are overdue to be refilled, as a matter of fact, because I got a text message from the pharmacy saying you need to, because I have zero refills. Whenever you have zero refills, the pharmacy will call you and say like, hey, you got zero refills. You need to contact your prescriber. But I still have, I don't know. Let's see if I can do this without spilling them. I still have that. Well, I just spilled one. I still have that many. So I'm not taking that many of them anyway. So if he says no, which I don't know why he would, since he's always trying to pill me up with all this stuff I never heard of, uh, and this is something I'm already taking, it won't be like the end of the world. I have like, I have done without him before, and but there are days where like I'm trying to think I think I took one yesterday. Supposed, supposed to take like three a day. Uh, it says one time, three times daily. So okay, this is embarrassing for me to admit, but I don't have a whole lot of shame or whatever. But I was just writing a random post to some Irish girl. She was asking about things that are true, like in America, and it pertained to like high schools and stuff. So I don't know if you're familiar with John Hughes movies. The guy everybody knows the guy holding up the boombox, John Cusack for the girl that he's in love with out in the rain or something. I don't know. I didn't really see that one. But I was just making jokes. I was like, and those movies are actually documentaries. And I described some of the scenes in the movies, and I was like, there's also this documentary called Dawson Creek, which has a girl hot enough to literally marry Tom Cruise, which Katie Holmes married Tom Cruise, sleeping in the same bed as a 15-year-old teenage boy, and it never occurs to them anything sexual, nothing sexual ever occurs to them because they're just friends. And gradually they realize, I think I just quoted the show, so I went back and I looked at the first episode, which, by the way, they tried to make me pay for. It's like, this show's from 1998. It's like I watched it because I had like three channels, and yeah, I will watch like teen romance things since my teenage years consisted of operating tables. So yeah, I will watch like teen romance stuff. And like the age of Katie Holmes when she was playing that role was 20. So like I was feeling bad about like, oh, look how cute she is and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, she's probably like an underage girl or stuff. It's bad enough like leering at 20-year-olds when you're 52. It's acceptable behavior, but it's bad enough. But then I looked up her age and I'm like, how the hell is she 20 years old? But anyways, so in this post I said she's literally hot enough to marry Tom Cruise, which she did later because she married Tom Cruise when she was 25 and Tom Cruise was 41, which, not as bad as the Seinfeld thing where he was 38 and picking up a girl from high school who was 17. Got a little problem with that. It's not so much like the age difference, it's the fact that you can get anybody. You're Jerry freaking Seinfeld. You do not have to pick a teenage girl. And he had, of course, the parents' permission. I guess there's some states you can get the permission to date an under 18-year-old girl from the parents. But yeah, well, hell yeah, you're Jerry Seinfeld. Go ahead, fuck our daughter. You know. So her name was Shoshana Longstein or something like that. I don't know how many 17-year-olds are mature or whatever, but that's bad math. Anytime that you can take the girl's age, double it, and have a remainder, that's bad. So 17 times 2 is 34, and you subtract 34 from 38, and you still got left over. You still got 4. See, I can do addition and subtraction like I told you. So, yeah, bad. Bad, Jerry. Bad. But, anyways, so I'm watching this show. I start watching the show, and I'm like, ugh, this is rough. The dialogue's a little cringy. I like romantic stuff, so I like stuff about, like, all the stuff that I missed out on, like the teenage years, young romance, all that stuff. I like that stuff. You know, I don't care if it's weird. I like that stuff. I didn't get to do that stuff. I had spinal tumor when I was 16. I was scared of girls when I was younger. So I was taught that sex was bad, so I like that kind of stuff. Don't care. So I'm watching this show, and the guy refers to it as Xanax. There's a really weird thing in this show where there's a character on there named Pacey, and he has a girlfriend. The girlfriend has a mom with mental issues, and she had a brother that died. And I don't know if the mom had mental issues because the brother that died. That's not important. The important thing is that she picks up a bottle, and it it's supposed to be Xanax, and she's taking 20 milligrams of it a day, twice a day. That's 40 milligrams of Xanax a day. And they refer to it as Xanax, but when you look at the bottle, they have to have a loophole, I think, because they don't want to mention the drug. I guess it's okay to like have product placement with Coca-Cola, but not with like prescription drugs, even though Xanax was not controversial, I think, in 1998. It might be a little controversial now. I don't even fucking know. But here's the funny part. He's referring to it as Xanax, okay? But on the bottle, it says Zanac, Xanac. So you're taking Xanax. So you just put a S on the C, Xanax, as in the plural of Xanac. But really, they're referring to Xanax because they say at first they say it's for depression and anxiety, which Xanax is not for depression. I would not recommend it for depression at all. Um, but it's definitely anti-anxiety medication. And later on, they just refer to it as a anxiety thing. But I just had a huge double take when they were like Xanax 20 milligram doses. What? Because I can't stay awake on 2 milligrams. I mean, I'm not sure if you take 40 milligrams of Xanax a day, I think you die. I mean, yeah, yeah, it's like I was taking like a milligram of Xanax a day and having issues. 40 milligrams? 40 times that? So I was like kind of freaked out by that. But anyways, that's just weird. Um, so yeah, I like this movie. It's like my favorite John Hughes movie. Actually has an actress named Mary Stuart Masterson, and yes, I have a favorite John Hughes movie. I'm not sure if I'm crazy about any of the other ones, but they're made for like young adults. So this one I think is called Say Anything. I think John Cusack. It's the usual. I hate using that word they use nowadays, trope, but it's the usual storyline of the guy and girl are friends, like in the Dawson Creek thing, and the girl wants the guy, but the guy wants some other girl that's like pretty or like a stereotypical hot girl, and he doesn't see what's right before him. You know, they even use that line in Dawson's Creek. You know, you just don't see. You're so oblivious to life, you don't see what's right before you. And that she's talking about herself, and he's like, "Huh? Me dumb? Me 15-year-old boy? But I don't give a damn. Any 15-year-old boy that's sleeping next to Katie Holmes in the same bed. I don't give a damn how long she's been your friend. Okay, yeah, you're gonna have some issues of some kind involving wood. It's just so that always cracked me up about the show. You know, they start out the show addressing that. You know, they've been sleeping together, and she's like, "We can't sleep together anymore because I don't know if you've noticed, but I have breasts now." And he was like, "So?" And like, yeah, and you have genitalia, and he's like, "I've always had genitalia." And then she goes, "Yeah, but it's bigger now." And he's like, how would you know?" And she goes, "Long fingers," and then she jumps out the window because they had this whole thing where she's climbing into the window and stuff. I don't even know if any of you people know what the hell I'm talking about or give a shit. But yeah, I thought the show was dopey when I was watching it, but I didn't have a lot of entertainment things, so I've been watching that show, and the dialogue is pretty ludicrous in it, and it actually self parodies itself in the second season, because the guy makes a movie and then has somebody critique the movie, and it's like I think they pretty much like got some bad press for the first season, but the show was successful, so they were like mocking the critics or I don't know. It's sort of interesting actually. But anyways, I don't as usual. I don't got much to talk about. Can't do much. Uh, you know, I have to walk. I have to lift weights. I have to do these things. And all of them hurt, and none of them are fun. I'm still sleeping on the same filthy ass bedding arrangement. Haven't even addressed that because everything hurts. You don't want to move. Um, yeah. So really, that person that I hadn't talked to for like a month called me, and like I didn't mention the fact like money at all. But it was a weird conversation because they were like, "I'm just checking in on you," and we didn't really ask me how I. She asked me how I was doing, and then I mentioned the fact that I got hurt by my doctor, and I was like, "Didn't you get like the text message I sent you, or did you read it?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, okay." You know, like I was trying to explain um, to my new case manager with the last name that is uh, a euphemism. That's the word I think I was looking for female genitalia. Probably tough growing up like that. If my name was Dick Cock, I might have a fucking problem with my childhood. So, anyways, so I'm trying to. It's like what I was saying to her, which, all right, now my mind is just in the gutter now and going running through various jokes concerning that woman's name and my name. So I totally lost my train of thought, which happens. Um, yeah, but let's go back and talk about like the phone call that I had. Maybe I could pick it up. So I'm talking to this person that owes me money, but I'm not mentioning they owe me money, because they're like, I'm checking up on you. And I'm like, well, I got a bad leg. Suddenly I say I have a bad leg. And the conversation becomes very short. And I'm like, okay, you know, it's like, I'm not sure. And they're like, well, I was just checking up on you. They did ask me how I was doing, and I said, well, my leg got injured, and now like when I'm walk or stand, it hurts so bad that I like break out in a sweat. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, I was just calling to check in and see how you were doing. Basically, hustled me off the phone. Like I got to go feed my animals now. And like, okay, uh, felt like I just farted or something. And then somebody wanted to kick me out of a room, but I don't know what that had to do with the case manager or whatever. But anyways, yeah, not much to talk about. I try to get this situated a little different and work on it, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sleeping all. I'm not having trouble sleeping. I'm not sleeping all that great, and I need exercise. So I think of it as just like if I do the kind of exercise that where you have something to show for it, like say what I have to do with this bed. I have to clear all this crap off of this bed, and then I have to spin the mattress off of the bed part way, which may involve moving some of the stuff on this side of the room the fuck out of the way in this little very small room. I mean, the window is right there. This bed is slammed up against the wall. So that means then I have to unzip this mattress protector, put on the new mattress protector. And I'm probably going to have to flip the mattress around because it's an old mattress. And just have to, I can't flip it over like you used to be able to do when you get the worn in spot. And now that I'm a big, huge guy at 191 pounds and a fatty, there's the old depression in the bed. And I'll have to probably spin it around and stuff. So it's a whole big thing. But when I do that kind of thing and I have something to show for it, which is a clean bed and a nice fresh sheet to put on it, it hurts my leg a lot. Whereas walking around in like straight lines and stuff and little tiny turns doesn't hurt my leg. But if I'm lifting, bending, picking up, doing housework, that kind of shit, all the stuff that I was forced to do while that fat, lazy aid worker was lying to me, that kind of shit hurts my leg. And it especially hurts my leg now as of the 22nd of last month. So I'm not really into pain all that much. I haven't yet figured out how to become a masochist. I don't know how you do that. I think you have to be already sexually aroused and then ask a woman to beat you. Okay. So maybe I have to jack off with one hand and punch myself in the face with the other hand. But that would be like patting your head and rubbing your belly at the same time, and I'm not sure I can do that. See, I got issues. So I'm not sure I can do that. It's too tricky. So yeah, my skill level is not that high. You know. Plus, I'd have to maintain the erection at the same time I was punching myself in the face, and it's too complicated. Yeah, maybe I could figure that out when I was younger, but I'm an older feller now. So, anyways, enough of that implied soggy cock talk. Yeah. Uh, yeah, that's just that whole thing about how do you become a masochist and enjoy pain. I don't know, but I've seen people that like not sexual masochism, but that seem to enjoy pain. They seem to like. Um, I'm not talking about like cutters and stuff like that. I'm talking about people, just regular everyday people that do stuff that clearly is painful and pointless to themselves. There's a lot of emotional masochists out there that like, Why are you putting yourself through this again? I'm a Browns fan. I know all about emotional masochism. Okay. I was like, I had high hopes for this season. I bought a whole bunch of football cards to sell for the Browns. That I'm a Browns fan. I understand emotional masochism, but the physical masochism I have a problem with. I've seen people that will like, oh, I got a bad leg. I think I'll go out and like dig in the yard. Like, no, you should probably rest your leg. I remember like when my foster brother was really into fishing. He didn't get a lot. He was working steady all the time. He had hernia surgery where they put like a screen in there. And one of the things that you're told to do is to take it real easy when you've had hernia surgery. The dude went fishing. And I'm not talking about easy park fishing. I'm talking about like walking across the field and down a hill fishing. And yeah, he just would take a bunch of like he did have like good pain medication, I think, but I don't think he took it when he went fishing. But it's like, yeah, it has to be. You have to be a masochist over something you really like to do, though, like sex or like fishing or like yard work. Some people really love like cutting grass and digging in the yard and gardening and stuff like that. I do not really love changing my bed or really love doing my dishes or cleaning my bathroom or walking around my house with a cane. These are not a few of my favorite things. Don't, you know, there's really not. Let's just say like the carrot is not a carrot. I'm not a donkey chasing a carrot. It's like what? It's more it's more like a spoiled pork chop or something like that. There's no motivation. There's no carrot on the end of the stick. There's just actually spoiled pork chop will work because I'm going to get a whole lot of shitload of pain for what I'm going to do. I'm not going to get no reward. I guess you get for masochists. They get sexual pleasure out of being sexual masochists, and the other masochists, that enjoy fishing, they get to catch fish. They enjoy gardening, they get to see the flowers. If they enjoy cutting the grass, they get the feeling of power over something living and green. It's like, I cut you, motherfucker. No, I don't understand why people are into cutting grass, but believe me, there are people that grass is that high. That's how high they want it. If it's that high, drives them fucking crazy. They cut grass all the time. That grass must be kept in check. I figure like that's the one thing they can control. Those are the kind of people, like I grew up in the suburbs, man. And we were kids. We wanted to play in people's yards and fields. Our front yard was very small. The guy next door didn't want no, he was a grass guy. He didn't want no kids in his yard. The property line, we had a hill going down to his yard, right? The property line is actually halfway down the hill. So we would play ball in our yard, like throw footballs and play wiffle ball and different games involving balls. And the balls would roll down the hill, and we would have to get them and get them the fuck out of his yard because if he caught us in his yard, he would yell at us. His name was Mr. Howe. And it's like, look, man, we don't want to be in your yard, but there's like a fucking hill, and we own half the fucking hill. And it's like, man, lighten the fuck up, you know. And if you fell down the hill, I had an incident where I had that one cousin in Florida that I talk about from time to time that it's real strong, man, and he military pressed me and threatened to throw me down the hill. And I was like, first of all, how in the fuck is this guy military pressing me like this over his head when he only outweighs me by a little bit, and we never got in any fights or anything or had any conflict with each other. And it wasn't that I was afraid of him, but I was aware that this guy's crazy strong. But I was like, man, you can't throw me down the hill, man. Mr. Howell will get mad. It wasn't like, you'll hurt me. you know, Please don't hurt me. It was like, no, you can't throw me down there, man. Mr. Howe will come out, yell at me. What do you mean breaking your arm in my yard? But yeah, we had a lot of people like that in the suburbs. Like, man, we even would get yelled at for being in Keller's Field by people who didn't own it. Who didn't own it? Who didn't own it? And it's like, why are you yelling at us? It's like, this isn't even your field. Your house just happens to be by this field. This is owned by somebody else. So we would get yelled at all the time because it was a big field, relatively speaking, and we could play like a full game of football in it. You know, it wasn't small like our front yard. Our backyard was cluttered up with fruit trees and a patio area and all kind of stuff. So it wasn't good for playing any kind of sports, and there was just too much stuff back there. We had a dogwood tree, we had three apple trees, we had a pear. This is not a big yard, mind you. We had a pear tree, we had a patio enclosure, and in the back was the dog pens. And I don't know how many feet this yard was, but it's not a big yard. So you couldn't play in the back at all, but there was no trees in the front. Um, so, yeah, no thread there to pick up as far as tying it in thematically to whatever the hell else I was talking about. That's just reminiscent about people's obsession with grass. There's no way to tie that back into like the masochism that I was talking about and my own issues with trying to find a way to fight through the pain and work with my heart, get my muscle tone back, which I had when I made my silly video. I forget which song that I did like a fake striptease to. I remember the video. I did a bunch of work lifting weights and was all toned up and whatnot. It was a Joe Cocker song. I think you can leave your hat on. I think it was or something like that. But anyways, I made a silly video. But now that was when I was like 176 or 178. Now I'm 199. I'm all out of shape and don't lift weights anymore or do anything anymore. And it's hard to start doing stuff because, you know, muscle soreness and it's just not fun. It wasn't fun while I was doing it, but once you get into it, you get in the routine of it, it's a little bit different. And you start to see results that makes you feel better and, you know, but getting started, it's always hard. So, you know, as far as like the Omni orthopedics thing, I don't really know how to play that. I mean, this time I guess I will call them up, talk to the receptionist, be a nagging type of dude, get some sort of resolution instead of like the like I said, I filled out the same damn form and went through the same process before and never got an appointment with them. I just waited and waited and waited for a call back and just never got a call back, and then life got complicated beyond belief. And I was like, don't care no more. Uh, Plus, it's easy to put something like that off where you know they're gonna, you know there's a possibility you could be going under the knife. It's pretty easy to put off something like that. You know, even if it needs to happen and you want some kind of help and you need help. If there's a possibility they could be cutting you open and rehabbing you, and you have CRPS and your other leg's bad, and it's going to be complicated, and you know it's easy to put something like that off. But I think this time I should wait a little while, give it a couple of weeks. If I don't hear from them, because the form was mailed on Thursday, if I don't hear anything back from them, call them up and ask the receptionist, yeah, I'm so and so. I got a referral from so and so. I was wondering if you got my medical form from Tri County Orthopedics, you know, and like nag, be a nag. It's against my nature. It's like I think I was starting to say that before I got sidetracked by silly jokes earlier. It's not in my nature to bother people, to be assertive. You can't walk on me. No, you're not going to walk on me. Uh, But at the same time, I'm not the squeaky wheel type. It's just not that type. It has to do with how I was raised. We already know that, and the whys and wherefores of that. But you know, I just tell you a thing. I'm not gonna like, hey, I'm not that guy. Hey, just bothering you all the time, wearing you down about something. I'm not gonna do that. But this time, I think I have to go out of character and if I and at least get some kind of resolution. Do you want me as a patient or do you not want me as a patient? Instead of like the way they did it before, where it was like, we'll call you back um, and set up an appointment, and then I don't hear from them, and I'm just like, okay, they said they do it, you know. I should know, like people that work in offices, sometimes they don't write shit down, like when you reschedule appointments and shit. So I got no excuse for that, other than 5, 6 lost teeth, stay in the hospital for arrhythmia, and breaking my toes, which by the way were hurting like a bitch yesterday, my broken toes. And that's a hell of a thing to have, you know. It's one thing to have something that hurts. I mean, damn near everything on me hurts from here down. But to have a constant reminder that your toes are broken for absolutely no reason, and yeah, I don't like that at all. Because I was like, man, my toes hurt. Is this going to be a thing? And November 8th will be the year anniversary of me breaking my toes. So coming up on a year. It's like, is this going to be a thing now where like my toes are going to hurt periodically from an old injury? Because I broke two of them. I broke the ring toe and the middle toe. Um, I don't know, but it's like the worst part of that to me is not the pain, but being reminded of the incident. It's like because then I get angry. It's like my toes are hurting because of this dude's interference over here and my landlord. Uh, and, brings up bad things. But anyways, I think I don't know. Have I talked for a sufficient length of time? I'll leave it up to you to decide whether I've been entertaining or not. Uh, but yeah, I don't really have much to say, and I'm really not in particularly good brain. I have a feeling that this was entertaining, because I feel like I've entertained myself, and I have very high standards now. Really, no, I don't think everything I do is good. Believe me. When I was talking about Rosemary's Baby, I watched that cringing. I'm like, man, you are not speaking very well. I'm not cringing because I was talking about a book that's like a million years old and critiquing it and being mad at the author. I was cringy because of the way I was speaking in it. That's like, oof, that's bad. You know, Taka so good. But I think I did all right with this one. I think it was mildly entertaining. It had excellent production values. Somebody told me I should play music. Does that irritate you when you're like trying to watch something on YouTube and there's like music in the background? That shit irritates me. So that's why I would don't put music, because like everybody don't like the same music. And there's this one guy that has, I think they're like football analysis videos that he puts music in the back of. I think I'll give him a plug. I like doing that. The guy's name's Flimlo Raps. Um, it's really redundant though. Like the music in the back is really redundant. So by the end of the video, you're just like, ugh. But he does these really excellent videos, like Whatever Happened To, and he's like makes these little excellent documentaries about football players, because football players come and go lots of times. And he's explaining like there was a guy that actually ran into a car. It's like this guy just ran into a car. Don't know why he ran into a car. Usually cars run into other people, but he said he probably had a case of CTE. But he just like attacked a car. So, you know, so he has these cool little, he makes these cool little videos, but he has this annoying music in the back, and you have to have the sound up because it's a documentary. Kind of important to hear the person talk, but at the same time, he's got this background music, and it's like you just. I don't like critiquing other people's videos because um, it just seems like an easy thing to do to sit back and be criticize somebody. So like I've been watching these videos of people watching movies just because of the extreme, boring, horrid nature of my life that I have to find new things to entertain myself. So I'll watch like reaction videos to movies, and so like I wrote this post, and I was like, "You are astonishingly good looking." Is how I started out this post. Uh, I was like, and I usually don't offer any like constructive criticism. I put constructive, of course, in quotes uh, to people's videos, but the way you ask the movie questions at the beginning of the movie is as uh, how did I put it? I don't remember how I put it, but I'll say as annoying as your looks, because sometimes people are so good looking they're annoying. I just went out of my way to compliment her looks. And I said, I suppose you have a mirror, so you probably already know how beautiful you are, or whatever like that. So some guy white knighted her and was like, dude, women like to explain themselves. And I'm like, all I wrote was, asking is not explaining. I like, and I think I've heard of women before. They're like us, but smaller, right? Then he had an interesting comeback. He said, not really where I come from because we're descended from Vikings. And he's like, everybody in my family is over 6 feet tall. And I guess Scandinavian women are famous for being like really tall or whatever. And I'm like, I'm like, yeah, I like tall women. It's like there was like a 6 footer that lived in the building for a while, and that was pretty cool. And I said, but I've only met one woman in northern Ohio that was taller than me, and I think she was 6'3". I just wanted to jump in her arms and start singing. The lift is up where we belong, on a mountain high, where the eagles fly. You know, it's like a dated reference, but at least it's a famous one. But yeah, it's like I remember like semi stalking that woman. You know, if you can call this stalking. But it's at a discount grocery store where you bag your own groceries, uh, and they stopped doing that. But it was a thing. So I guess that's how they were like saving money on, I don't know, a bag hiring a bag boy, or bags or something like that. So they would just throw all your shit in a cart. I don't know if they got these kind of places where you're from in your areas, but you know, you'd go and you'd either bring your own bag, or usually you'd bring boxes, and you'd pile up your groceries in boxes. So I'm standing next to this woman because they had a counter for this purpose. You wheel your cart over there and you take out your boxes or your bags and you bag or box up your own groceries. And I'm looking at her. And I'm like, she's good looking. I'm looking. I'm like, what? I even looked at her footwear, and I'm like, and I thought like, if you're that tall, why in the fuck would you wear heels? Why am I looking at her feet? And I'm like, she's got dark hair. I love black hair too, you know. So I was like, I couldn't believe that there was a woman taller than me that was attractive. I never even saw a woman taller than me in Ohio. So uh, I followed her out to the parking lot when I was wheeling my cart, and I like walked a little bit extra, like past the car that I was past my car. I I just ruined my own story by I don't drive, so it's not my car and somebody else is driving there. But I pushed my car past the car that I was in, and like followed her to her car and then did like a circle and a loop around. But that's the only time I ever saw her. I don't know if you call that stalking or not, but I made an unnecessary trip just to look at her and marvel at her magnificence. I was because I don't know if that's a fetish thing or whatever. But I was trying to be funny, trying. And I was like, I always feel like, I like the economy size women because I always feel like you're getting more for your more value there. I don't know, man. I don't remember what I wrote. And phrasing is so important in comedy. I can't recite what I wrote, okay? I was making jokes to this Scandinavian dude that apparently 6 foot women are like common in his country or something like that. He's like, they're not as you're right. They're not as big as us, though. They're not as heavy. And I'm like, well, I hope not. Us being men. And there was this whole thing on this video too. I'm gonna further dig the hole deeper, talking about things that I wrote. Like that's interesting. But it was about the Wachowski brothers were responsible for the Matrix, and one of them had a sex change and is now a she, and then there was a whole. So I was like, why is this thread like 178 replies? And I started scanning it, and somebody called somebody a trans. There's a lot of transphobia on here, and I'm like, well, of course, transphobia. Transphobia is natural. Why do you think they have those like barriers that have the reflective orange and yellow stripes on them that keep you from going past it? Those are the trans barriers. So you're supposed to be transphobic. Anyways, so I made that rather weak joke, but then I wrote something serious, and it was very long. And I'm waiting to see if anybody will respond to it. But it was actually a very serious thing about the PC climate that we have. Because I don't know if you know this, but Bill Burr just did a set on Saturday Night Live, and I guess we have a cancel culture thing now where like they want to, if you say stuff that's not politically correct, they want you fired. They don't want to just complain about you. They want you fired. They want your blood. You know, you can get fired for saying the wrong thing now, and it's kind of like the political correctness has reached the point where it's Orwellian, and like you can lose your job. You can get in trouble over saying, like Roseanne, the Roseanne thing, whatever the hell she said. She got in trouble. Norm Macdonald got in trouble because he made a joke about somebody having Down syndrome. He mentioned Down syndrome in a negative way. I don't think even people that have Down syndrome, if they're self aware enough, would consider it a positive. You can call me a cripple. You don't have to call me like physically challenged because I understand it's not a positive thing. So if you want to say something about it, but yeah, so Norm Macdonald had to go on an apology tour to like salvage what career he had, and it was ridiculous. Uh, he's like, he wanted to say, "What are you retarded to somebody?" But you're not allowed to say retarded anymore because retards are apparently just as smart as we are. You know, you're not allowed to say that. Uh, any retarded people that are listening to this, if you're offended by that, um, you are as smart as we are because you're uh, realizing that I don't want to go there. I'm ruining my video that I was complimenting earlier. So, yeah. So there's a self awareness issue there. Like, as far as he wanted to say uh, somebody was retarded and call him stupid that way. But he in midstream, he switched to, what are you, like Down syndrome? You know, and it was kind of like a joke to him. It's sort of a weird joke. You'd have to get Norm Macdonald, like, it's just an out of the way weird thing to say, and everybody knows what he really wanted to say, so it's like a meta type of thing. But anyways, it got him in trouble. The overall point being, is I was talking about like like we don't want to live in a culture like this where free speech is like we're doing this to ourselves. It's like we don't even have, like, in 1984 in Orwell's book, they had like a brutal dictatorship that repressed free speech, and to the point where, like, they had the thought police, you know. And it's almost to the thought police point, like, well, you meant this, you know. You might have said this, but you meant this. It's almost that bad. So Bill Burr, anyway, he goes on Saturday Night Live and he does a riff about how white women are, like, suddenly now they like took their Gucci uh, covered feet and like crossed the race barrier line, and now they're the defenders, and they're at the forefront of the racial movement. He made some other cracks about it. You know how white people have kind of like co-opted uh, the whole um, BLM type movement thing. Like that video that I have of a white dude kicking a white guy in the face, knocking out his teeth, and like it was at part of a Black Lives Matter uh, rally, and like they chase this guy down and kick him in the face, and this woman's yelling at him like, "Look at you now! You can't be saying that shit." You know, in other words, you can't say what you want. He's like, you can't come over there talking that mess. He's like, look at you now, Black Lives Matter, you faggot. And like, to me, it's horrible. It's horrifying and funny at the same time. You know, because the guy gets is all bloody and shit, but there's so much irony in all of it. Like, they're out there fighting for freedom and the betterment of mankind, and they're fighting for freedom, but you can't say what you want without getting your teeth kicked out. They're an anti-violence movement, but you know they're kicking out people's teeth. Yeah, it's just craziness. And so I was commenting on the general state of the world and how, like, yeah, we don't need. We seem to be doing this to ourselves, and it's like we have a movement out there that through violence and intimidation is creating some sort of culture where free expression is no longer free. It's dangerous. It's dangerous to say what you want. You can't say what you want. It's like isn't that like the First Amendment, freedom of speech? What the hell is going on in this country? Now you may have heard about this incident, which is Troy Aikman and Joe Buck are doing a football game. They do not know that their mics are hot, so they're watching like a military flyover. I think Joe Buck said something like, I'll just post a link to it. But he says something like, hey, well, there goes another couple $1 million of the tax dollars money. And then Troy Aikman says, well, when Biden and Harris get in office, you won't be seeing no more of that stuff. They didn't swear or anything like that. They were just offering up opinions that, you know, the military display is like a waste of money. And then, like, the other guy is saying that he's supporting Biden and Harris over Trump. It's like, why is this a thing? We got cities like burning and shit. I think we got other things to worry about, but this is a thing. This is a weird, really weird society we live in, with where like social media is so powerful. You know, not powerful when I do it. I got like 20 people will watch this, but it's powerful if you're already famous and you're a public figure, man. You better damn well watch what you say, because the people will get on the Twitters and the Facebooks or whatever they will get on there, and they will be like a huge backlash over you saying stuff. So, and yeah, it's very weird, and it's scary. It's actually a little bit scary. The whole idea that you can get fired for exercising your free speech. And like, there was a huge fight on that thread over gender ID. I was also making jokes about, like, I had heard, now this I'll probably have to research, but I had heard that in California, you can, in other words, like in California, I am a 6'1", 191 pound, ugly female, officially. Because in California, um, they will jail you according not to your equipment, but according to your how you identify yourself gender wise. So officially, only in that state of California, I am a woman. Because if I do something bad in California and get thrown in jail, I would much rather be thrown into a women's prison than a men's prison. If I'm going to be a bitch, I want to be a woman's bitch. I don't want to be a man's bitch. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, uh, I had heard that. I will have to research that and see if that's true. I will probably have to put work in, or like more production values. I will probably have to put like some post production work into this in the form of looking up whatever the fuck it is I've been talking about it, and fact checking it, and posting links. So that means I have to go back and watch this, which I always do anyway, just to make sure I don't say anything stupid like my social security number or whatever, and um, you know, see what see what's what. I actually do go back and watch it because I enjoy watching me make an ass out of myself. Like this video will be especially funny because I did a really good job. Like, and then like the end of it's a train wreck. It's like as soon as I complimented myself, I think this video was pretty good, pretty entertaining. And then it just goes off the rails, and I start talking about stupid stuff that I wrote, and I don't realize, like, yeah, you don't remember what you wrote, but goddamn, it was good. Oh, that's not funny except in print. Okay, I understand that now. So, yeah. But since this is my principal form of amusement these days, um, oh man, I knew I had like one bug in my coffee, but there's two in there now. What if there was three in there? There are these fruit flies or gnats that that fly around. I don't know what they're doing in here. I do eat in here, but yeah, I don't know if you call them gnats or if you call them fruit flies or whatever. But I'll drink around them. But I could have sworn there was more of them in there. Yeah, protein, no big deal. So, anyways, hope you liked the painting. Hope you liked the video, and I'll see if I can do better. And uh, next month I'll get like a gigantic painting that'll cover like this whole board. I'll like try to figure out something where I'm like in the painting instead of in this hideous room, this hideous prison cell that's got cardboarded up walls and ceilings and whatnot. And I will try to be productive today and not lay around and watch shows about teen romance. Uh, yeah, I will try to do something today of value. Though yesterday I actually did make a phone call I didn't have to make, so that's something, and talk to that woman for 45 minutes. It's probably not going to help me anyway. I did have a case manager before her. Here I am screwing up my goodbye, a good goodbye too, and I'm screwing that up. But I had a case manager before her that was horrible. Uh, I think I would have remembered her name because her name is a euphemism for female genitalia. So I think I usually remember female genitalia type stuff. So yeah. Oh my god. Now I got to say that too. Oh, that's horrible. It ties in with what we're talking about. Oh, that's horrible. Oh, dude, you're really gonna be sorry you sat through this now. So, anyways, I have what is now called a mentally challenged cousin named Elaine. in the back of the day, we called people like that retarded. She decided to flash me, and that's the first vagina that I ever saw. So on that note, I'm getting the fuck out of here before anything else disgusting comes to mind. But yeah, I don't know what the deal was with that. But yeah. And now that image is in my damn head. Oh, it's not good. It's not good at all. That's I had talked about her before. She grew up to be like big and huge, and like she would pick up my murderous father and say Uncle Pete and pick him up and swing him around because she loved my dad. And and he would be like, "Holy crap!" He would be like shocked because he's not wasn't a small dude. He wasn't a particularly huge dude, but he wasn't a small dude. But she would just pick him up and spin him around like a little girl, and and he was like, "Good lord, she could really hurt somebody if she wanted to. She's so damn strong." But yes, I'll try to supplant that first image with the second image of her saying Uncle Pete and hugging my dad and spinning him around in a circle, like I'll pick him and sweeping him off his feet. Because that used to crack me up, but I couldn't laugh, but of course, because my dad was there. But I do this. I'm gone, man. I'm out of here. Goodbye. I'm way gone.